Yes, yes, yes. We're back. We're back with another edition of the Leo G Show. I am Leo G, man, and podcasting is what we do, man. And we're talking sports, Atlanta sports specifically. And we back, man. I got my riders with me as always, man. So we're gonna do the introductions, man. So I got one of the most popular people on the show. Everybody on the show is popular, but one of the people that is very popular on the show, man. The person that wants all the teams in this city to do well and kick ass and take names is none other than my man Antoine Banks. What's going on, brother?
What is going on, Mr. Leo G?
Man, I can't call it, man. We skipped a week. We missed a week. It was Mother's Day weekend, man. I hope everybody had a great Mother's Day weekend and we were able to kick it with our mom. Shout out to all the moms, man. It was Mother's Day weekend, man. So we skipped a week. Now we're back and we're gonna do this tonight, man. So I'm glad you're with me, man. And we're gonna move over to none other than the Atlanta sports legend, the man. There he is over there, Mr. Derek Coleman joins us tonight. What's going on, man?
What's going on, Leo G and my man, Mr. Banks? Fresh off
What's up, Derek Cole?
celebrating his 22nd birthday a couple weeks ago.
Was it the 22nd or 21st? Which one was it?
Yeah, it was something around about that.
Yeah, somewhere.
22nd.
Somebody,
yeah,
somebody.
something about that. Yeah.
Something around about
Well,
that.
he had been
All right,
sporting his libation, so we got to make sure that he was over 21. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah, he over 21, but we ain't gonna give you the exact. We ain't gonna give you the exact. So all right, fellas, we back for another edition, man, and we're gonna get right into it, man, with some sports, man. And but first off, man, so we got the YouTube thing jumping off, man, and we've been doing this, man. It's a little competition, I guess, we got going on with, doing who's true to Atlanta and who's really, really Atlanta when it comes to, the sports apparel. So I'm gonna go around the table and then I'm gonna show y'all what I got on represent because you can't really see it a little bit, so I'm gonna have to back up. So first off, I'm gonna go with my man Banks because he got something real, real special for y'all, man. So Banks, tell everybody what you got going on tonight with your wardrobe, man.
Going rocking with the arena team, arena league team that we had at one point, the Georgia Force, and the jersey that I have is number 8, Derek Lee, wide receiver for the Georgia Force.
All right, man. Shout out Georgia Force, the Arena Football League that was here. They were here for a couple of years, man. I remember going down to Phillips Arena at that time, and then I think they moved up to Gwinnett, man. So shout out Georgia Force Arena Football here, man. So move it over to Derico, who's wearing something very, very familiar tonight. So what you got on, man? What's the fit that's inspired by for the night show?
Our first tailgate coming back is going to be tomorrow, so I had to represent for the foodie mob. Got that Dungeon Family insurance. I ain't gonna turn around, but on the back it say Big Lick for 96. So if y'all understand, y'all look that up later. And shout out to my boy Nick for celebrating us with this lemon pepper wet IPA, and it's good.
Lemon pepper IPA. I'm glad you were finally able to get it out there in Augusta, man. Shout out to Wild Heavy, man, and the lemon pepper wet IPA, man. I don't know if Banks is able to get him some, man. We're gonna have to get him some for him to test it out, man, and try it out, man. It's some good stuff, man. So look, man, I'm gonna show y'all the fit I got on for the night. Well, it's not actually a fit, it's just it's an inspired t-shirt, man. So I don't know if y'all can see it. I'm gonna hold it up. This is a throwback. It's the Atlanta Fire Ants here. Got the shirt. I don't know if y'all can really see it, but there it is. Atlanta Fire Ants. That's a real throwback, man. You got to be real ATL to know about the Atlanta Fire Ants, man. Only one season here in the ATL in 1994. They were inline hockey team. Inline hockey team here. They played in the RHI, the Roller Hockey International League here. They played out of the Omni, man, and they were only here in 1994. They missed the playoffs by a couple of games. But go ahead and Google them, look them up, man. That's we do. See, when we do ATL, we do ATL. So we do ATL sports. We go and we tell y'all and give y'all a history about. I don't know about these other podcasts, and I don't know about all these other folk, man, that claim they ATL and they've been ATL fans since Mike Vick or whatever. Now we've been ATL fans since day one, and we're gonna represent. You see Banks with Georgia Force. You see me with the Atlanta Fire Ants. We do this. So all these other folk out here to be claiming that they ATL, man, if they can't do what we do, then they ain't repping. They not repping. We repping hard. Derico, what's up?
Oh, I just wanted you to let me know what that inline hockey was. I just want you to break that down to me just a little bit.
Absolutely. So inline skates. So remember the inline skates that was big back in like the late 80s, 90s. Not roller skates, but the inline skates. So it was inline hockey. So they wore the inline skates and they were playing hockey on inline skates on the concrete, man. If you go on Wikipedia or you go on Google, you can see pictures from the Omni. So from what I understand, they played to uh, uh, crowds of about 3,500 down there at the Omni. And a little known fact here. So they moved from Atlanta after the first year. They're only here for a year. They moved to Oklahoma, and then after that, they went on out to Las Vegas. So I don't even know if that league is still in existence. But in 1995, yeah, they went to Oklahoma City. And then, like I said, they went on out to Las Vegas, man. So yeah, the average attendance was about 3,300 for these games, man. But yeah, it's all Atlanta. Like Banks said, man. Me and Banks once had the conversation, man. Look, if it's a table tennis team representing the A, we gonna be there. If it's a cornhole team representing the A, we gonna be there. If it's a frisbee golf team representing the A, we gonna be there, man. That's what we do. All A every day, man. A town down. Ain't that right, Banks?
Yes, sir. It could be a whoopee cushion sitting contest. As long as Atlanta has a team, I am there, brother.
No doubt, man. So if somebody say they ATL when it comes to sports, man, it ain't no look here. There is no pick and choose. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I'm a Braves fan, but then you know what I'm saying. I like the Patriots, and then I like the Lakers, or I'm a Falcons fan. But then, no, it's A town down all the way, man. Because if it ain't A, it ain't right. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we doing all day, every day. So, fellas, we gonna jump right into it, man. We got some talk. It's been a minute since we've talked about the Hawks, right? So I think we need to jump in here and talk about the Hawks. Yeah, y'all know I'm still feeling some type of way about the Hawks, but I think we need to talk about it, man. Banks, you think we need to talk about the Hawks?
Why not, brother? They on their way. Let's get to it.
All right, man. So we'll talk about the Hawks for a little bit here, man. The Hawks. So as we come to a close of the NBA season, the Hawks right now, as it stands tonight, are the fourth place team in the Eastern Conference, and they are playoff bound. The Hawks have clinched a playoff spot. The first time they have clinched a playoff spot since 2017, if I'm not mistaken. And so we back, baby. We back. And look, so as I speak right now, we missed that whole, if you didn't know, the NBA had this whole playoff bubble crap trying to get the last two seeds in or whatever. And we would think everybody was like, well, the Hawks gonna have to play for that, and they not make. So the Hawks said, bump it. We're not trying to do that either. We're going to go right into the gusto, and we're going to get into the playoffs. We're going to get into the dance without having to do all that, man. So, Derek, I'm going to kick it over to you, man. How proud are you of these Hawks, man, for right now holding on to the fourth seed without having to play that play-in
I'm
match?
extremely proud. Throughout the season, it's been like a bunch of adversity, starting with the issue with the former head coach, getting let go. So since then, it's been injuries after injury after injury. But this team has been, one word for me is resilient, and they haven't let up. They kept the course. Whatever's come at them, they've attacked it. And I don't care what nobody says. Our coach, I'm saying our coach because that's what I want him to be, is our coach. Nate McMillan should be in some consideration for coach of the year. I know they want to throw it over to them other guys that's been there the whole year, but you just cannot discount what Coach Nate has done with this squad. And I'm just extremely proud that we're in a position where we can host home games in the first round of the playoffs.
Absolutely, man. Definitely, man. I'm thrilled to see what these boys are gonna do in the playoffs, man. And everybody, it looks like they're ready to go into the stretch into the playoffs, man. I've been, like I said, I'm in my feelings still about the Hawks, but I've been watching them from afar. You know what I'm saying? I've been keeping an eye on them and seeing what they're doing over there, man. So I want to say at home, they've been protecting home this last stretch, man. They have really protected home, and they've won like several home games in a row, if I'm not mistaken. And like you said, they have had a lot of adversity, a lot of injuries. but people have stepped up, and we've kept winning. Shout out to Bogdan Bogdanovic and Danilo Gallinari for holding it down, man. When a lot of players were hurt, Trae Young went down. DeAndre Hunter is still dealing with an injury. Cam Reddish has been dealing with injuries. Kevin Herter went down with an injury. I mean, like, it's damn near the whole team has had injuries, man. But we've somehow held this together, and it would be phenomenal if we could get into the playoffs and have some cohesiveness with a couple of players coming back off of injuries, man, to get into the playoffs. Banks, man, you want to speak about how we look going into the playoffs and how you feel about this run that we're going to try to make once we get in there?
Just like Derek was saying, I am extremely proud of the Atlanta Hawks for being a very young squad. And you said that they won several home games. It's actually 11 games in a row under Nate McMillan. Has won in State Farm Arena consistently. Since, I believe, March 1st, Hawks was 14-20. And ever since March 1st, they went 25-11. So that's an incredible feat. Incredible, with the fact that they had all the injuries, with all the adversity, they just kept playing. They kept, like you said, being resilient. And you have to tip your cap for that, for a young team like that. You wonder, with today's NBA, you got to have a superstar, to win, but there's not really a superstar on this team. You have good players, but you don't have a superstar yet. And I feel like that's more impressive to put what they're doing right now. Very, very proud.
Hey man, so they've been playing extremely well. So look, this is kind of, it's kind of weird, and I'm glad you alluded to that, Banks, with the whole superstar. The NBA is a superstar driven league, and right now though, with looking at the standings in the East and in the West, especially the West is really, really kind of up for grabs. I look at the West right now, and I'm looking at the standings. You got the number 1 and the number 2 seed, the Jazz and the Suns. A couple of weeks ago, the Hawks played the Suns, and they kind of handled the Suns, right? And the two teams that we always look at in the West here, especially over the last couple of seasons, have been the Lakers and the Warriors. And right now, they're bringing up the back end and struggling to try to make it into the playoffs. I know LeBron is still nursing ankle injury out there in the West. The Clippers are still, moving forward and trying to get where they are. They're currently seated at 3, but the West, who we thought would be the strongest conference, is a conference now that's in a little disarray. Banks, what you got for me?
And kind of to chime in on what this little play-in round, whatever this is, you just bet your bottom dollar if the Lakers play in that play-in round and get eliminated, that's the end of this play-in round for forever. They're not going to bring it back next year. Their beloved Lakers got eliminated. So it's a good idea beforehand, but this wasn't predicated for the Lakers to play in it. Let's make that perfectly clear. The fact that the Lakers went through some injuries with LeBron and, a couple of key players, now they might have to play in that play-in round as well, and I don't think they wanted that. So, again, this play-in round, it was a good idea, but Lakers get put out, that's a no-go.
Derek, man, I'm gonna kick it over to you, man. With moving into the playoffs here in the next week or so, man. West and East, man. This it's looking, it's kind of weird. The setup is kind of weird. A lot of stuff going on. Of course, you got to take it back to last year, and then we're moving forward, injuries and everything else. Specifically, the East and where the Hawks are right now. Derek, how do you feel about where the Hawks are at the number 4 seed, and how important is them for them to hold on to this number 4 seed right now, man?
Well, I'm just gonna preface it like this. It just depends if Miami's in that 5th seed. That's the only team that I'm like not wanting to see in the first round. I can handle the New York Knicks, not a problem. But it's something about that Miami Heat team that's coached by Spoelstra, who's been there, done that. You know, they was in the finals last year, so they got that championship pedigree anyway. So for me, them at the 4 seed, as long as the Heat is not at the 4 seed, I'm okay with it. But they got one more game to go, so we'll see what happens. But at the same time, that's a squad that I got more problems with than the New York Knicks.
I got you. Banks, what you got for me?
The piggyback of what Derico said, the Hawks are in a peculiar position between the Heat and the Knicks. Yes, you're right. The Heat are a very tested team. They already been to the finals last year. They got a head coach that know how to get there, and it'll be a bad spot for the Hawks. On the flip side, you got the Knicks, who basically owned you the all year. They had no answer for Randall, not one. I think going into that playoff game against the Knicks, it's another bad spot for the Hawks because it won't be about the Hawks. It'll be about the Knicks. They've been waiting years for the Knicks to be relevant. And I think politics going to play a role in that playoff run for the Knicks. The league wants the New York team to be relevant because it's a high, top market team, and it's the Knicks. You got Spike Lee and you got, Stephen A. They all big Knicks fans. And I'm like, okay, so you going to put the Hawks against this team. You're going to have to fight the refs too. You're going to have to fight the bias of the media. You got to fight all of it. And I just hope they're ready for it because it ain't going to be no smooth sailing for being a 4th versus 5 because it might be the first time in history the 4th seed might be the underdog.
Derico, what's up with you, Derico?
Yeah, I hear Banks, and I just want to just piggyback on this point as far as New York is concerned, as far as the media hype. I mean, it doesn't matter who the Hawks going to play. I mean, the media's going to be against them anyway. I mean, it just goes to any Atlanta team. They don't want to see Atlanta do well for some reason because they just feel like we're a bad sports town, la la la, whatever. I mean, that's just what it is, just garbage. But on the same point, the last time that the Hawks played the Knicks, we had them on the ropes until Trey got hurt. They were going down until Trey got hurt. So for us to think that we can't beat them, I mean, we've had too many injuries and setbacks. Two of those games, if I'm not mistaken, were pre-Nate. So that's another problem. So I want them to go in here overconfident, thinking that they're just gonna blow the Hawks out the water, like Randall been spewing on Twitter about. Yeah, bring on the Hawks. We beat y'all the whole year. Good. Have that overconfidence, and when you come to the Atlanta and them home field advantage, and we just scrub y'all butts off the map.
Hey man, look, I'm with you, dude. I think that the Hawks are in prime. They're in a prime position to do really, really good, man. We I think we play good from an underdog position, especially having a young team. Right now, the Hawks are a young squad. They don't have nothing to lose. And I'm glad you said that, Derico, man, because Nate came in and he has put a fire. He has lit a fire up under these guys, and they're playing. You would have thought with all these injuries, we would have kind of just faded out, but we haven't. The respect that they have for Nate, and you can hear the way these guys talk about Nate in these pressers. They have a lot of respect for Nate, man. He's a former player, NBA player. I know he played for the Supersonics, former NBA player. They have a lot of respect for him, man. And they're playing their hearts out, man. And like I said, one guy goes down. We always talk about the cliche, next man up. But these guys have been playing that next man up. They have really been playing next man up and have been doing a good job. I'm hoping we can get into a spot. I know a lot of guys, well, not a lot, but a couple of guys might not be able to be serviceable when we move it into the playoffs. But man, if we can get just the core or the nucleus of this team healthy, man, it'll be really, really good, man. Banks, what you got going on moving into the playoffs?
Let me just ask you two a question. Do you both agree that having the 4th seed is more important than being the 5th seed? Correct. I'm asking both of you guys.
Derek, I'm gonna kick it to you first.
I mean, to have more home games in the first round, absolutely.
What about you, Leo? For this team, for the Hawks team,
Man, I was saying the better the seed, the better we were gonna be off. And right now, if we can hold on to this number 4 seed, man, absolutely. I think that would be great. Like Derico just said, to piggyback on him, man, to have more home games, man. And the seeding is everything when it comes to playoffs, especially in the NBA. So yes, definitely having a number 4 seed, man. I think we put ourselves in prime position. If we can get out of the first couple of rounds, man, and get to the Eastern Conference Finals to play whoever. I mean, at this point, you got to think about it, man. You get out of the first 2 rounds, you get to the Eastern Conference Finals, man. You shouldn't be scared of anybody. I mean, right now, the Nets, who everybody crowned to be that team to come out of the East, it's not really a guarantee. You know what I'm saying? Harden's hurt. I think, we don't know if he's gonna come back. Well, we're assuming he'll come back for the playoffs, but then you got to look at chemistry and how that will be. But like I said, man, seeding is everything in my opinion. I think that this number 4 seed will work in the Hawks' favor. And like I said, they get out of their first round. And if they're not, the Knicks, if they get past the Knicks, then we'll be good. I think the Knicks is that thorn in our side. The confidence builder would be if we face the Knicks in the playoffs and can eviscerate them, then it's game on. What's up, Banks?
Well, I ask you that because the way the seeding works for the Hawks, Heat, and Knicks, I think it's the Hawks are 4, the Heat is 5th, and the Knicks are 6th currently. Well, the remaining games, the Hawks have 1, the Knicks and Heat have 2. So we have a tiebreaker with the Heat. And I think there's a scenario where we can finish 4th if the Knicks were to lose 1, or if the Heat went out and it don't matter what the Knicks do after that point. What I say to you guys is you guys feel like the Knicks would be a better matchup, but it's no scenario, I don't believe, where the Hawks can finish 4th and play the Heat. I mean, I'm sorry. They can't be 4th and play the Knicks.
Knicks. Yeah.
If the Heat lose to one of these last 2 games, the Knicks gonna leapfrog over them, and they'll take over the tiebreakers with the Hawks, and we'll fall to 5th, and the Knicks will be 4th, which means we'll lose home court, and we'll have to play the Knicks. Or you'll keep home court because the Heat won out, but we have to play the Heat. You see what I'm saying? So it's kind of like you want home court with the Heat, or do you want to just play the Knicks and start the first 2 games in Madison Square Garden?
Man, I say let the chips fall where they may. Like I said, the Knicks are the team that's a thorn in the side. And right now, Banks, I mean, we did what we were supposed to do, and that's getting into the dance, right? The way Nate has been coaching and the way this team has been responding to him, it's like let's let the chips fall where they may. Eventually, put like this: if the Knicks are that team and we have to face them, that's what's up. We haven't had problems with any other team in the East but the Knicks. And I think that these guys are on board and knowing that, hey, in the playoffs, if we got to face the Knicks, damn it, that's the challenge, and that's what we need to step up and do. I think this team is ready, you know what I'm saying, for whatever scenario that you just put out. Derico, I don't know how you feel about it, but I think this team is ready for whatever scenario comes their way.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the adversity that this team has been through, nobody else, I don't think no other team can really say that in the East, except probably the Nets. You know what I'm saying? As far as injuries are concerned, I mean, they've had more injuries than any other team. The Nets have had 2 injuries mostly, which is Harden and KD. I mean, our whole squad has basically been injured. So if, like you're saying, if it's the Knicks, so be it. To me, I'd really rather play the Knicks so we can shut them up. You know what I'm saying? I mean, really just stick a foot down their throat and a knee up the ass and just do what we got to do so we can send them packing back to New York. Period.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. It would be my pleasure to send the number 1 marketed team in the NBA out of the playoffs immediately. Send their ass packing, man. The Knicks, whatever. I don't care. But shout out to the Hawks, because right now we always talk about different teams carrying this city, man. And I feel really, really good about the Hawks and what they got going on right now. I know it was a lot going on with Lloyd Pierce, but Nate has been like really the X factor, man. And these guys have been playing. I can't keep reiterating about how they've been playing their hearts out for Nate, and he's just breathed a new life into this team. So it's going to be very, very exciting going into the playoffs. Hopefully, man, we will be able to get down there to State Farm and check out a playoff game. So Banks, man, Derek Cole, man, let's keep our schedules open, man. If this playoff comes up, man, we'll be able to try to get to a game. I want to kind of keep it moving, man, tonight, and we're going to move and talk a little Atlanta United talk here in just a moment. Really quickly before we move off of the Hawks, I'm gonna kick it to both of you guys. I kick it to you, Derek Cole, first. Nate McMillan, has he been the reason the Hawks are where we are right now? Go.
100%, absolutely. I can't even say nothing else because that is the reason. I mean, you just can't say that the team just caught a fire and something just clicked. I mean, no, it's the same team under different circumstances. But when Nate got in, he righted the ship, and that ship has been floating right ever since. So 100%, it has to do with the leadership of Nate.
All right, Banks, how you feel about about him?
Absolutely. I mean, even when Lord Pierce was on that maternity leave, Nate McMillan came in for a couple of games, and I believe they were undefeated. Lord Pierce came back, and they were kind of back to their old ways. But then Lord Pierce was canned, and then Nate McMillan took over, and it's like night and day, like literally. The very next day, the next day, the Hawks start playing better. Like, how's that happen? I mean, it's like you're the same team that was crap in the bed with Lloyd Pierce. Now, all of a sudden, Nate McMillan come in as a temporary coach, not even a real head coach, and you're balling. You're balling. So something's up. It's got to be an X factor somewhere. It's got to be the coach.
Derek Cole, we'll give you a little minute and then we'll move
No,
on.
I'm just gonna say the biggest thing that I saw with this team is the fourth quarter. It's like it was a 100% 360-degree turnaround between the former coach and Nate McMillan coach team in the fourth quarter, where they just got dismantled. But now they actually winning games in the fourth quarter. I even got one person that called me and say, "Oh, you turn on the game until the fourth quarter because I want to see how good they do in the fourth quarter." That's just how it is.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. So that's what's up, man. So the Hawks, man, we're looking forward to them moving into the playoffs. So, like I said, man, we're gonna move into talk about Atlanta United. We're gonna talk about what's going on with them, man. So first and foremost, guys, I want to talk before we get into some Atlanta United talk, man. I just want to talk a little bit about what this team has meant to this city because I've talked to a lot of people, man, and this team has, I don't know, man, it has like resurrected the city. It has really, really just given life to a lot of people here in this city. I'm gonna start out with you, Banks, man. Right now, we're in a spot where Atlanta United. We've talked about this kind of off air, where we knew the honeymoon would kind of be over. I mean, we're moving into year 5 with this team, man. But this team is still like really uniting, no pun intended, uniting this city, man. Are you surprised that, year 5 here, Atlanta United has really kind of, unified this city, man, with the fan base and everything that's going on?
No, absolutely not. You have a melting pot of people from all over the country that lives here in this city. When the Atlanta United came aboard 5 years ago, you had people felt like, well, this is the team I can follow. This is a team that, I can't get with the Braves. I can't get with the Hawks. I can't get with the Falcons. I can get with this team because they came in with me. This is where we start, with my city, if you will. And for me with Atlanta United, they had some down times last season, of course, but I don't think that's going to deter people away. I mean, I think that's going to make people stronger, especially the diehards. A lot of people in the city can care less about the team, but I mean, I for one, I love them. You love them, Derek Cole, you love them, but you got people that was like, it's soccer, it's just soccer. But then you got the purists who are like, they live for this. They can be 0-6 and they will still be in that stadium yelling and chanting and doing all kind of beer throwing across the stands and all that giant jazz. Yes. So
Absolutely.
it's not going to change. It's not.
It's big. It's a big sport, man. Soccer is growing. It's a big sport, man, and it's taking over. And like you said, Banks, a lot of people have attached themselves to this team, whether they were big soccer fans to begin with or not. This was something with the dynamic of the city changing. This was something that everybody was able to jump on and be a part of. Like you said, they didn't have any ties. The MLS is still relatively young, and this team coming in, everybody can say, "Hey, let's hitch our wagon to it and do it, man." So Derek Cole, man, how do you feel about Atlanta United and what they're doing and how they're able to kind of unify this whole entire city and the fan base, man?
I mean, piggybacking on what Banks said, I mean, when you have something new and you know we're a transient city and you have an international sport, so it was like automatic for it seemed like folks to just jump on and catch that wave before it really was a wave because it was new. It wasn't no history of losing. It wasn't none of that. So you know what I'm saying? So that's why I feel like the Atlanta United was just a lightning rod for the city. And it caught on. And I think, like Bank said, you have some rabid soccer fans that are just in love with Atlanta United. I'm being transparent. Soccer wasn't like on my top list. However, like we talked about at the beginning, we support anything that's Atlanta. So if it's Atlanta Toilet Bowl, it's Atlanta Pinstripes, whatever it is, we're going to support it. So it didn't take long for me to say, hey, I'm jumping on this bandwagon because I support everything Atlanta, period.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the atmosphere is electric. So as we record this podcast right now, man, I mean, hopefully maybe I'll be able to drop it before in the morning, man. I'm gonna need a little help, a little boost. Maybe I get a Red Bull or something and try to drop this before in the morning. So we're going into the first um full capacity game tomorrow, May the 15th, against Montreal, who happens to be at the top of the table right now. Derico is going to be with me at this game. Unfortunately, Banks has other prior engagements and he's not going to be able to make it, but I'm pretty sure he'll be at some of the other Atlanta United games coming up, man. It's an experience, man. I mean, I've been here all my life dealing with the Falcons, Braves, and Hawks, but Atlanta United is an experience. So if you're in the city and you haven't been to one, come on down. So we're going to get into it and talk about a couple of things that's going on with this team right now. So first thing I want to talk about with you guys is CONCACAF Champions League. We talked about how important it was for Atlanta United to advance in CONCACAF Champions League, but it didn't happen. They were bounced out. We talked about it here. I want to say the last podcast. Aggregate scoring, of course. If you don't know about aggregate scoring, I'm gonna tell you to Google it because I don't have time to tell you how this works. But Atlanta United ended up going to Philadelphia, and we just couldn't pull it out, and we were bounced. Both of you guys know how adamant I was about seeing Atlanta United move forward with this CONCACAF. I feel like CONCACAF was right up there, is right under the MLS Cup. I think MLS Cup and then CONCACAF, then Supporter Shield and the US Open. And we couldn't advance. And it tore me up. And I don't know if you guys saw both of the games. We'll go to you, Derico, first. We get bounced by a strong Philadelphia team, man. It looked really, really good. And at this point, man, all we can do, because no MLS team has ever advanced and won this tournament. So now all I can do is sit back and say, okay, hey, you know what? I gotta kind of root for them boys. I gotta kind of root for Philadelphia to make it through. I think I want to say Portland made it through. If I'm not mistaken, I have to go back and look at it. But Derek, I'm gonna kick it over to you first, man. We get bounced out of CONCACAF. How did you feel about that, man?
To be honest with you, Leo, just watching that squad in the first, leg of that tournament, I was like, okay, we look good, but we don't look good. You know what I'm saying? But when we played Philadelphia that first leg, I was like, oh my goodness, like what happened? It's just like you just got destroyed. It's like this is not the team that we're used to looking at. I was expecting a carryover from games before that we were going to be able to score some goals. I mean that it just didn't happen, and I don't know why, but it just didn't happen. I'm feeling some type of way because we all expect so much more from this team. You know what I'm saying? We don't want this to be that team that lets us down. So for me, it was like, okay, maybe it's just CONCACAF. Maybe it's just too many games going on and they just couldn't cut the mustard. Hopefully that's it. Or we got so many new players that hey, they haven't conceived some type of camaraderie yet. So hopefully at some point that happens.
That might be it. There might be some truth to what you just said, Derek, as far as getting the cohesiveness together. Because we do have a new coach and a lot of players. There are a lot of new players here with this team, and they tried. They really did what they could, but obviously, man, Philadelphia just tactically was a lot stronger. Banks, how do you feel about us being bounced out of CONCACAF, man? And do you feel like we did the very best that we could?
Yeah, they did their very best, man. I mean, it's unfortunate. It's just wasn't our time to do it. I mean, that's why I looked at it. I mean, it's disappointing. You want it to be that first team in MLS to advance and get that CONCACAF championship. But it wasn't our time, and I look at it like this, man, and maybe I'm being very just lukewarm with it. It's on to the MLS season. I feel like no distractions, go full steam ahead and get this other trophy, man. That's the way I look at it. Sorry.
Yeah, a lot, and you guys have been following soccer here for several years, but a lot of people will tell you that CONCACAF is very important as far as elevating the game to a whole nother realm. And it's great. Like I said, winning MLS Cup are great. It's wonderful, and that's what we care about here domestically here in the United States. But it would be so grand to see Atlanta United on a global scale playing, Real Madrid or playing a PSG or playing a Liverpool or whoever, man. I mean, this is how you elevate the game here in this country. So, I mean, yeah, we still got time to do it. Obviously, we need as a collectively as the MLS, man, we got to get on board with because Liga Mex has owned us and owned everybody in this tournament, and they've gone on to represent the North America. But I really want an MLS team to do this, man, so we can elevate this sport here in this elevate this professional league here in this country. Derek, what you got for me?
So Leo, let me ask you this question because I think this is part of the discrepancy in Liga X. I think that's what you said, and MLS. The money. I mean, the money difference is the issue. I mean, you can bring a whole squad in Liga X, and pretty much you don't have to say okay, it's a cap on the squad. And MLS is like minuscule as far as the budget is concerned. So I think that's the problem with the difference in the quality of players and the play with Liga X and MLS because of the money situation.
Absolutely, man. The MLS is kind of strapped as far as like how the league is set up. And we've Americanized of course, as Americans, we Americanize everything, right? We have a salary cap here. We can only bring in three DP, like international DP players. Yeah, so we're going to be handicapped as far as like competing against La Liga Mex roster. Like they don't have the constraints that we do here in the MLS. But I will say this much: we can still compete. As what you just said there, Cole, is very very funny because the Mexican League does not have the constraints that we do here in the MLS, but we can still compete. We go back here a couple of Campeones Cup, the inaugural Campeones Cup. Atlanta United beats a Club America, which Club America is the premier club in all of North America, one of the best clubs in Mexico, and we beat them. So yeah, we do have a lot of constraints when it comes to like the salary cap and when it comes to our league here, but we have to find a way to bust through that ceiling. I don't know if we'll ever. Well, we will get there eventually. As far as maybe pushing the salary caps up, whatever they need to do. Don Garber, who's the commissioner of the MLS, they have to kind of figure out what we need to do in order to make this league a lot more competitive and there's been talk about the MLS even merging with the Mexican League to try to make it a little more competitive. But of course, those constraints will have to come off in order to make the teams here in America a lot more competitive. So I mean, it's very disappointing to see Atlanta United get bounced out of CONCACAF, but I don't want to dwell too much on it. We spent a lot of time on it. So moving forward here, let's talk about a little MLS play. Last game that we just saw here on last weekend was a nationally televised game, Atlanta United versus Miami. Inter Miami, I'm sorry, David Beckham's team down there in Miami. Inter Miami, we played them to a draw. But one of the coolest things was we saw the King. The King score his first goal back after tearing his ACL. That was a sight to see. I'm gonna kick it over to you, Derek Cole, first. How did you feel about Joseph Martinez, our forward for Atlanta United, man, scoring his first goal after tearing his
I
ACL?
just felt good for him. You know what I'm saying? It was just like it's almost like, I guess you won't say it's almost like, but I'm gonna put it out there like this. When Steve Young finally won the Super Bowl after he was just being dogged for so long. So when Joseph tearing his ACL and being out for a whole year and being basically put on a time constraint because he hasn't been playing like full minutes. So for him to get that goal at home, I know it was just like something that we talked about in the chat.
I mean, Banks, I'm gonna kick it over to you, man. How did you feel about seeing Joseph score his first goal after tearing his ACL? Almost, well, yes, it's been over a year. How did you feel about him scoring that first goal after tearing his ACL?
The daddy is back, and it's good mentally for him. He was. I'm not saying that he did this, but when you have an injury like that, you kind of favor it. Coming back. Not knowing how it's going to react to certain pivots and turns, and when he got that score finally, and just it was like okay, now let's play. It's good for him and his psyche. From here on out, man. I mean, I'm not being biased. I think he's gonna have a good game from here on out. Just getting that elephant off his chest. This this good mental things going on in his mind that's positive. With that goal.
Absolutely, man. So one of the things that I talked about here was the fact a lot of teams have tried to figure Atlanta United out, and one of the things that I saw was that people want to smother Joseph. Joseph is a very small uh, forward. He's a very small forward, and it's easy to kind of say, "Hey, we put two bigger center backs on him and try to mitigate him out of the game." But they didn't smother him. They gave him a chance to get a look, and he turned around and scored. And I was like, that's a confidence builder. That's a confidence booster, man. It was crazy to see Joseph run over to the side and hug his trainer, man. That I guess helped him rehab, himself back to getting to where he is right now. And it's cool, man, because we're gonna have to lean on Joseph a lot trying to build a chemistry with this team. So I'm gonna kick it over to you, Banks, first. In MLS play, we were able to get a draw in Miami, and moving forward here as we record, we're playing the number one team early on in Montreal tomorrow. What are the expectations right now? I wanted to talk about some other things that we learned about with this team, but for you as a fan, because that's what we do. We talk about this as fans and a fan perspective. Banks, where are you and how do you feel about Atlanta United at this point and in this season and what we can do?
I feel very highly optimistic. Going into the rest of the season, everyone thought that we were going to blow the doors off of teams, but it's you got to crawl before you walk. I mean, we have the players, we have the coach. It's early, and for one, my expectation is that we're going to be in the playoffs. Will we get a championship? I don't know. But I know that we have the mental makeup to at least make a playoff run. And I'm very confident with this roster that we have and the head coach.
Absolutely, absolutely. Derico, how do you feel about this team, man? So we're gonna be live in front tomorrow against Montreal, the number one team in the East right now. For whatever it's worth, we're still early in the season, man. Where are your expectations, and how do you feel about Atlanta United right now in the early parts of the season?
I'm going to take the old Banks approach. This is the new Banks talking about being positive. So I'm going to be the pessimist on this one. So I'm cautiously optimistic just for the simple fact you got so many new guys on this squad, and I haven't seen anyone step up that can score goals at a premium like Joseph. So if we had somebody on the squad that was doing that, like when Almiron was here, then I would feel more confident. But right now, I just don't see it. What you got, Banks?
Well, you already know I had a rebuttal for that, and I resent that, sir. And the old Banks was not pessimistic, for your information.
Banks, it's a thin line between being pessimistic, man. It's the whole glass half full, glass half empty.
Listen, man,
Sometimes,
listen.
sometimes,
No,
hey, man,
no,
sometimes we don't
listen.
know where you are, man. We don't know where you
I
are.
am a realist. Okay, I don't go out here going through the fields of tulips and taking lollipops and rainbows with my feelings. Now it's all about being a realist. Okay, I know what my eyes see, and I'm 9 times out of 10, I'm not wrong. Now, as my heart as a fan, I want to think otherwise, but my brain was like, "No, brother, that ain't it. That ain't it. That ain't it." So I go with my brain a lot. So sue me.
I mean, it is what it is, man. You know, so I'll just be real with you. How I feel about the team is cohesiveness and it's chemistry, man. We bring in Gabriel Heinze, who I feel like is a very, very good coach. The second Argentinian to coach this team, he's brought in a lot of Argentinians, man. We brought in a lot of guys from Argentina this year, and he scouted those guys. He knows how they are, and I feel like it's going to take us to get the wheels in motion, man. To get the identity, man. Because let's be real, under Frank De Boer, we never really gained an identity. We never did, and I think that Frank De Boer never really was able to get the team like he wanted to because of the South American presence. He really just couldn't attach himself onto this team tactically and do the things that he wanted to do. Frank De Boer is a great coach. He was a great player. He's a great coach, but there were a lot of constraints and a lot of different things that he wasn't able to do while he was here. And I wanted to talk a little more in depth about the article that came out here on that in the Athletic about why he wasn't able to do that, but we'll have to postpone that to a later date, and we'll talk about it later. But I think that the cohesiveness has to get there, and I think we will. One of the things I will say, and I'm gonna go with you, Derek Cole, talking about scorers and talking about somebody like Joseph. The league was put on notice 2 years ago when Joseph broke the scoring title. The league was put on notice about Joseph, man. Anytime, any professional league, when we see people they elevate themselves, and the league gets put on. Guess what? Everybody decides that, hey, we gonna put a stop to this. And I think that everybody now has made it a point to tactically put a stop to Joseph and what he does and what he brings to the table. So, Derek Cole, with that being said, I'm gonna kick it back over to you a little bit and talk about this, man. How important is it tactically for us to find somebody else that's gonna take some pressure off of Joseph? And do you think we have the personnel right now that can actually do that?
You made an excellent point, Leo. And a lot of people that may listen to this that are Atlanta United fans not going to like what I'm about to say. We have been internally labeled in the league as a one-trick pony, meaning if you stop Joseph, you stop Atlanta United. Period. I mean, that's just what it is. That's why I said earlier, if we don't have anybody else that can step up and score goals, then it's going to be a problem. I mean, consistently. When we was playing Philadelphia, they had different folks scoring goals, and it wasn't just their number 10 scoring goals. It was several people scoring goals, and until we get to that point, I think that's what's gonna elevate this team. And I was just thinking about this when you were talking. I'm not gonna look at the short term with hindsight. I'm going to look at the long term. I'm going to look at the long game. And I think as far as the long game is concerned, I think we'll be okay because he's not going to go anywhere. So moving forward next year and the year after that, I think we'll be in a position with the guys that we did bring in here that will be able to take that load off of Joseph.
Banks, before we move on, man, anything else that you wanted to add to what's going on with Atlanta United briefly?
I just think it's just a lot of trying to get their footing together. I mean, it's nothing really that I have questions about. It's early, we're 4 games in, I believe. I have nothing. I'm very calm. I'm cool and collected. I guess this is what you call Derek Cole, the new Banks. Help me out here, brother. I thought it was the same all the way through.
Yeah, man. Hopefully we can start to get you to look at the glass half full, man, moving forward, man, to a lot of things. So look here, man. We've been rolling with this show, man, and I really want to get into. We might go a little bit over tonight, fellas, man, but we're gonna keep it moving. So we definitely want to talk about the Atlanta Falcons and what's going on with them, right? So I'm gonna move right on into that. We'll briefly talk about the schedule, and there's something that I want to bring up to talk about, man, to kind of piggyback on the last episode that we did, that we definitely going to have to discuss and get it all out on the table, because I got a lot of stuff I want to get on the table. But the first thing I want to talk about with the Atlanta Falcons is the schedule. Schedule just came. Well, we knew who we were going to play. It was just a matter of when we were going to play them. So on Wednesday, schedule came out, placed the dates on us. I don't think it was any surprises. Falcons only get one primetime game. Of course, the NFL moves to a flex situation depending on how good teams are playing. Later on in the season, games could get flexed to primetime. Only primetime game I saw on the schedule, if I'm not mistaken, fellas, was the Patriots on on a Thursday night. Wow, we get the Patriots on a Thursday night. Other than that, nothing really special. Well, one thing special. October 10th, we go over to London and we actually play the Jets. So that'd be pretty cool. Second time the Falcons go over to London. I actually happened to be a part of the first trip over there. It was a phenomenal trip. I would tell any NFL fan, if your favorite team goes over to London to play, it's a trip worth making. London is a great city, a great host for NFL teams. They love the game. It would be interesting to see moving forward if they actually could get a team over there, man. Derek, what you got for me?
I need a sponsor. Since you said it'd be a nice experience, I need a sponsor. I'm putting it out there for the radio versus. I need a sponsor.
He's a sponsor to get over there, right? So look, I'm gonna kick it over to Banks really, really quickly, man, because we got a lot of stuff we need to cover and we're coming up against the mark. Schedule's out, dates are out. Anything surprising or anything that you looked at this schedule with the dates out that you really want to talk about or discuss, or how do you feel?
It was a schedule that kind of, it was been like I said, it was predetermined years ago. We just didn't know what the dates and the times and everything.
I don't know about years ago.
It's pretty set. I mean, they got the schedule already set for next year, and it's set in the year after that. It's all about your divisions, who you're playing year in, year out. So that's already predetermined. Um, as for the Patriots, I think every team gets a Thursday night game, so that's not really saying a lot. So yeah, we don't supposed to have a primetime game. We come off a 4-12 season. So yeah, only thing that stuck out to me actually was the fact that we played Buffalo in January. So it might be one of the coldest games and Falcons played in a long time. So yeah, bundle up.
All right, Derek Cole, I'm gonna kick it over to you, man. I know we talked about this a little bit off air. The travel schedule kind of got a little. This is not a travel friendly schedule, apparently, with the way they have this going on, man. But do you see anything on this schedule specifically, man, that you highlighted when you saw the dates that were actually attached to the opponents we were playing?
I mean, not specifically highlighted because, like you said, when I'm looking at the Aints game, the Cowgirls game, the Patriots game, those games back to back, and how it affects some of us that like to travel. So I was like, I had to make up my mind, like, which game am I gonna go to at this point? Because there's no way that I'm gonna go back to back New Orleans and Dallas. I mean, without a sponsor. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of stuff just that's the thing that kind of jumped out to me. And like Banks said, playing the Jets in January, and that was the only cold weather team that we would play. That was like
The Bills in
I mean the
January.
Bills, and that was just like a setup. Like that was just the ultimate setup in a in a middle finger to the Falcons from the NFL.
Hey, look, man. It is what it is. I mean, this is the NFL. The funny part is, man, we always laugh. The Miami Dolphins are in the AFC East. That's the funny part. So, like, the Dolphins have to leave the warm, because I mean, let's be realistic, man. Miami is actually the Caribbean. It's a very very warm climate right down there at the tip of South Florida. But they're in the AFC East, so every year they got to travel up to Buffalo or to see the Jets. You know what I'm saying? Late in the season. So I mean, hey, yeah, we're gonna have to deal with it, man. Got to see the Jets January 2nd up there in Buffalo. So look, we talking about the schedule really quickly, and we want to move forward because we're coming up here. Um, Against the mark. Really, really quickly, guys. I'm gonna go to you first, Banks. I know there are no real expectations with what we're seeing right now. New coaching staff, new GM, everything is turned over. Do you want to give me an early prediction as to what you see the Falcons doing this year? Do you have any thoughts, any early predictions, or what? How do you feel at this point with this season coming up?
I usually don't do those predictions because, teams change year in and year out. You don't know who's going to be good from last year. The team that you think that's going to be a scrub actually might have a golden year. So I kind of like don't do it, but just for kicks and giggles, I scammed through the schedule and I saw 7-10. That's off the top of my head. I wasn't really trying to put no explanation behind it. I was like, you know what? Just going by the roster that we have and what I think we have and who I think we're going to play, and off the top of my dome, 7-10, and
That's
scratching and clawing for an eighth win.
That sound like what's up, Derico? Did you want to give me any way too early predictions or on this schedule?
I'm like Banks is like way too early. But if you're gonna twist me and make me give you a number, I'm just gonna have to say 8 and 9, simply because we play. I think it's 4 teams that have rookie quarterbacks, which really don't mean nothing when it comes to us. But at the same time, I think Pease, our new defensive coordinator, got a remedy for that. So I'm just thinking, you got 4 of those games against those rookies, we should be able to get, hopefully, and then you got 2 division games or 3 division games that you hopefully can squeeze out at home, and then you have a wild card game that you'll win. So there's 8.
Okay, okay, I'm with you on that. Like I said, man, I'm with Derek. I think I'm right behind you on that, man. Trying to get 8 wins out of this schedule, man. It's still way too early. But you brought up a good point with the rookie quarterbacks, man. That's a, but here's the thing, and I'm gonna say this much, and I know we talking about the past, man. Traditionally, man, and this is the past. The Falcons have not fared well with rookie quarterbacks, man. Like we've given rookie quarterbacks a lot of confidence. I don't know what it is, but we have not fared well with rookie quarterbacks. I don't know, but we'll see how this works out, man, this year with the rookie quarterbacks. I will say this much, man. We are looking for a win against Tom Brady. This joker is undefeated against us, man. We got to give him an L before he decides to call it quits. So like we got to see this happen. And hopefully we will. Uh, Give me 1 second here. We're gonna move forward and talk about something else. Banks, are you still with me?
I'm right here.
Okay, cool. You're still with me. I don't know what happened to Derrico here, man. Hopefully we'll bring him back on in just a second, man. If we can't get him back on, then me and you will just finish out the show. So what I want to talk about is before we wrap this up was something that a lot of people had brought up and was talking about here and brought to my attention. Julio Jones and him possibly could being traded, right? Um, if Julio Jones is traded, man, what's going to happen with this city?
A lot of people's not going to understand the business side of it. It's going to be a lot of people that's going to be upset.
Business side of what?
I just don't.
What?
I'm not really looking forward to seeing people's reaction when Julio's not here. And
Oh, I'm gonna tell you what my reaction gonna be. I'm gonna be honest with you. I will absolutely funnel
Man,
my
you getting
money
real
to the
emotional?
Atlanta
You getting
Hawks
emotional about this?
as far as season tickets.
listen, hold on, Derico. Don't go off the deep end on
Oh,
that because this is a
no, 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 no,
business.
no, 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 no.
Hold on,
That
no,
that
Derico.
that that.
It's no way we
Nope.
can sign our draft
Yes, we
picks.
can. You made a
How?
conscious decision. You made a conscious decision who you wanted to renegotiate your contract
Hey,
with
look,
and
we're
who
gonna.
you didn't.
So look,
You
Banks.
still have an
I'm
option
having
to
some
do
technical
something with
difficulties
Brady.
on my end, man. I don't have Derrico.
You do.
If we have to cut the show here,
You do.
quick,
I
I
can
might
hear
be able
him.
to cut.
I can hear him. I
Okay,
mean,
Yeah. I
I
mean,
I
you can
can't
hear who?
hear him. He's gone officially offline on my end. We
You
might
hear
be able to
Leo?
bring him back. But if not, man, I'm gonna cut it off
You hear
here
Leo?
and hope maybe
Babe,
we'll be able to bring him back and maybe we'll be able to mend this all together. But Banks, before we get out of here, man, this has been another edition of the Leo G Show. If we can bring him back, then we'll talk about this a little bit. But Banks, you want to give everybody your spiel before we get out of here?
basically, what I was saying, what me and Derico was saying, he was saying that he's not going to renew his season tickets. But I was just basically saying that it's a business, okay? You got draft picks you got to sign. And I don't think Grady Jarrett's going to restructure his contract like everybody think he's going to do, okay? Listen, it's the writers on the wall. It's like at this point now, in the past, Thomas Dimitrov was doing all the robbing Paul to pay Peter, and it is catching up with us. Now we're into the point where we have to do it. So yeah, I mean, it's a business, dude. You can't get upset the fact that take your emotions out of the player and think about the logo. That's the way I look
Yeah,
at it. So
absolutely, absolutely. That's the same way I see it, man. We're gonna try to get Derrico back in here in just a moment. If not, we're gonna kind of end this show here. We want to talk about some other stuff, but we'll just have to carry it on into the next show, man. Right now, I'm showing Derrico offline. Maybe we can get it back in. If not, we're gonna have to wrap this thing up here, Banks. Wait, we got him back. We got him back. Derrico, are you back? Unmute, man, and come back with us. Unmute, Derrico. Okay, you back. All right. So we will talk. So I lost you there for a minute, man. So really quickly, because like I said, we're past the mark. We're talking about Julio Jones possibly being traded or not being a part of this organization, man. How do you feel about that really quickly, man? Because we're gonna try to wrap this up here in just a moment. Okay. Okay. Well,
Well, you should have been gone a long time ago,
hold,
sir.
hold on, Banks. Hold on, Banks. So, because obviously we had some technical difficulties, and I wanted to get into this very in depth, and I might have to bring this back at a later date. But this is what I wanted to talk about really, really quickly. And Derrico just got adamant about keeping Julio Jones here in this city and making him a Falcon for life. And I think that's initially what we wanted to do, was make him a Falcon for life. But this is what I want to talk about, and I'm gonna give you guys both some talking points, and then we're gonna kind of wrap this up. So, just like I'm gonna bring it back, I have no problems with talking about this. Um, we're gonna talk about Matt Ryan for a second and Julio Jones and both of them and what's going on in this city. And I'm gonna just put it out there, man, because it's been a lot of talk about this, man. People want to see Matt Ryan go. There is not a lot of love for Matt Ryan, and we've talked about this, and I'm gonna continue to talk about this because it's something that needs to be talked about. Everybody wants to see Matt Ryan gone, gone. But when you start talking about trading Julio or Julio leaving his team, they're ready to go up to Flowery Branch with torches and pitchforks. Like, Julio is not expendable. He needs to be here. But Matt Ryan can go tomorrow. He can go tomorrow. But Julio need to be here until he's 85 years old. I could get into a long conversation and spill about everything that has to do with this conversation, but I just want to get to the roots of why is it that somebody that has given a lot to this organization, well, two players, I say this, two players that have given a lot to this organization, and one player is treated one way and the other player is treated another way. I don't get it. I'm gonna get to you first. I'm gonna go to you first, Banks, because this is something that I don't get, and I want somebody to explain it to me. Banks, maybe you can explain it to me. Derrico, maybe you can explain it to me. I understand that Julio Jones is a phenomenal athlete, and he's done a lot for this city. First ballot Hall of Famer, potentially. But the love for Julio Jones and hate for Matt Ryan, for some reason, is just, I don't know. Banks, I'm going to give it to you first, man. How do you feel about this?
It's laughable to me. The fact that you said that Julio's is a first ballot Hall of Famer, but if it wasn't for Matt, he wouldn't even get those yards. So I mean, they kind of go hand in hand, don't you think? But again, listen, this city is about glitz and glamour. Okay, Julio's a flashy guy. He's a very exciting athlete. He's one of the top receivers in the league. I mean, I think we agree on that. And the fact that you talk about him possibly being traded versus a quarterback who's like a lame duck and boring and too much of a nice guy, and no one liked him from day one. So, yeah, this kind of a no-brainer of what the city is divided on. I don't really need to explain a lot about it. It's just it's plain as black and white in so many terms. So,
Okay,
yeah.
Derrico, I'm gonna bring it over to you here, man. Same question. This is right. This is black and white. This is literally black and white. You can spin this however you want to spin it, but hate Matt Ryan. We want him gone. Julio stays for as long as he wants to stay. Why is it that Julio? Because I don't have enough time to get into things about Julio. Julio has been injured. There have been a lot of other things going on, Julio. And like I said, I love Julio. I'm going to go on the record of saying I love Julio. He's one of my favorite Falcons of all time. But Julio has to be here and has to be the face of this franchise. And Matt Ryan cannot be here. He needs to be gone. Julio has a pass. Why is it that he gets this pass and Matt Ryan is hated and he wants to be kicked out of this city?
No, 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 no. I'm going to say something about that because you said
Hold on,
top
Banks,
100.
wait, Banks, give him his time, Banks, give him his time. Okay, really quickly. I'm not trying to. Wait, I'm not trying to cut you off. I'm gonna let you finish. I agree with what you're saying. I'm not talking about the lead. I'm not talking about the lead there, Cole. I understand what you're saying and I understand where you're going with this. Okay. I watch the top 100 every year that comes out on NFL Network. What I'm trying to understand is there is a pure hate with, I'm not even going to say a portion of this fan base anymore. There are a lot of people in this fan base that genuinely hate Matt Ryan. You said he's a good quarterback, okay? Julio Jones obviously is an elite level wide receiver. Like Banks said, would not be the receiver that he is without Matt Ryan. You can do all these scenarios and say if you put him here or put him there, what he would do with a different quarterback, whatever. He's been here his entire career. What I'm trying to understand and figure out is where is the hate for Matt Ryan and why he needs to leave and why Julio Jones gets a pass and he can be here for as long as he wants to. That's where I'm trying to figure out. That's what I'm trying to figure out. I'm not trying to make. I'm not. Go ahead. Go ahead. Okay, look, I'm gonna say this much here. I'm gonna say this much. I get what you're saying, and I understand this. And Banks, I know you itching to get to your point, and you want to talk about this for just a second. I totally understand that. I totally understand that. What I want to know is, and Derek, I'm not trying to beat up on you or ask you to speak for people that are not, because you obviously understand some of what we're trying to talk about. I'm not trying to create any narrative. I'm not. But in professional sports, in every sport, whether it's the NBA, whether it's the PGA, whether it's the NHL, there is respect that is given to people that are good. Obviously, you just said the key word that Matt Ryan is good. We know he's good. We know Julio Jones is good. What I'm trying to understand is why we don't, some people in this fan base, and like I said, this might not be your fight and this might not be for you to defend. I just don't understand why is it that there's no respect for somebody that has been a good and serviceable quarterback here in this city. And then we look at somebody that's been a great wide receiver in this city, and both of their careers go hand in hand, mind you, because both of them have played together and been in this city for a long time. But when you talk about them, one person needs to go and one person can't. Derek Carr, I'll get back to you in just a moment. I want to give it to Banks because he's been patiently waiting to talk about this. So, Banks, I want you to expand on what I've been talking about and what we've been talking about with this whole Matt Ryan and Julio Jones situation. Go.
First of all, you said that Mike Ryan doesn't elevate the team. Okay, well, last time I checked, you can only do so much with a piss poor defense. Okay, I don't recall Matt Ryan having a top 10 defense, a top 20 defense for that matter, since he been here. So My thing is, if a quarterback, someone like, I don't know, Tom Brady, who just came into Tampa Bay with a top 5 defense, he didn't really have to elevate anything. Only thing he had to do was just be Tom Brady. I mean, just check down the ball and let the defense and the rest of the team do what they're supposed to do and win a championship. Baltimore Ravens. You mean to tell me Joe Flacco elevated that team? I think not, brother. They did not. He did not elevate that team. That defense elevated that team. He was just there for the ride. Philadelphia. You think, who was that quarterback? I mean, really? Seriously? Did he elevate that team? No, he did not. So I hear what you're saying about what Matt Ryan needs to do, but you just said he was good and he throws up 4,000, nearly 5,000 yards a year. What else he got to do? Does he have to go out there and stop the damn ball on defense as well? I mean, last time I checked, that San Francisco game, they were up 17-0. That's the last time I checked. Defense crapped the bed and they scored 24 unanswered points. So my thing is, you can only do so much as a quarterback. You know, I don't know any quarterback that's going to just put up 60 points a game constantly every freaking week. It's just not happening. Sometimes a team has to be a team and stop putting the damn blame on the damn quarterback all the damn time.
Yeah. Banks, and you know, like I said, we're about to end the show, man. My thing is, and like I said, Derek Cole, I'm not trying to push you to speak for anybody else. Maybe we can bring some other people on this show here. If anybody is listening to this show or watching this show, man, and wants to comment and tell us why you hate Matt Ryan so much, or you hate, or because you know, Banks and I, we've had this conversation several times. If you've been a true Atlanta Falcons fan and have lived through some of the garbage that we've had at the quarterback position, you will understand that this man should have some respect. I'm not saying that this guy is the greatest quarterback of all time, but at the same time, man, we went through a lot of trash. Man, let me tell you something, man. What my Falcons fandom is having to watch Jeff George, having to watch Joey Harrington, having to watch a bunch of just trash at quarterback, and then for people to really, really, really just disrespect Matt Ryan, like he has been ultimately the worst quarterback we've ever had in this franchise history, and not give him any respect is a bunch of garbage. And I just want somebody to explain to me why the hate is so much. And let's be real, I'm going to say this much and we're going to get off of here. Julio Jones has been ghost in some very pivotal moments in this franchise since he's been here. Yeah, he was injured, but you know, 3rd and 12, we looking for him to convert a first down, his hamstring. You know what I'm saying? 3rd and 5, we looking for him to be on the field, his foot, his ankle. But you know, Julio gets a pass through all of this, and Matt Ryan is the worst player that's ever suited up for the Falcons. I just don't understand it. I just don't know it. I want somebody to explain it to me. And yeah, we can talk about Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers and all these other quarterbacks and this, that, and the third. But with this fan base and the people that just spew this venom about Matt Ryan, and I'm, you know, when I say this, you know, everybody want to call. I'm not a Matt Ryan apologist. I just don't understand from a fan's perspective, and I'm a fan, why there is so much hate for somebody that has. If you want to hate somebody, hate Jeff George. Go back. If you've been a real Falcons fan, go back and hate Jeff George. Go back and hate his ass. Don't hate Matt Ryan. Go back and hate Jeff George's ass. Really, seriously, do that. Go back and hate Joey Harrington. Don't hate.
Say that. Brian
Don't hate Brian Leftwich. Go back and hate them sorry son of a bitch. Don't hate Matt Ryan. That's all I'm saying. Derek Cole, I'm gonna let you close it out, man, and we're gonna get out of here, man.
You know, only elite quarterbacks do that. And you know, Matt Ryan's not elite.
I never say
Well,
I never
he's not
no
elite.
we
I'll tell you straight
my
up, he's not
okay.
elite.
My point, my no, oh no, my point was I never said he was elite. I just want to know where the disrespect is coming. Because I mean, I'm gonna be realistic. I'm gonna be real about this. I'm gonna be real about this. I'm gonna be no. Like I said, it's not. It is disrespect, and it's not because, like I said, obviously, like you just said. Hold on, no, Derek, hold on. Let me finish 1 second. Obviously, like you say, it's not the circles that you run in, and it's not the people that you talk to. Because obviously, you're not hearing what I've heard, and obviously, Banks has kind of heard some of the same stuff that I've heard. But when I hear people talk about Matt Stafford and Jared Goff and some of the other quarterbacks in this league, Joe Flacco, and all these other people that I hear them talk so highly about, you know what I'm saying? And I look at their resume and I put them side by side next to Matt Ryan's, and they speak highly of him. It's ain't nothing really impressive between. Now you want to say Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady or Drew Brees and all these guys? You absolutely, you goddamn right. They deserve to be put on the pedestal above Matt Ryan. But when you start talking about Matt Stafford, that son bitch ain't never won a playoff game. And you want to say you got more respect for Matt Stafford than you do Matt Ryan? Obviously, there's a damn problem. There's a problem with that. There's a problem with that. And I want to get to the root of it, and I want to understand why. Is it a fan, like Banks said? Is it the city? Is it the fan base? Is it the glitz and glamour? Is Atlanta the new AT? Is it new Hollywood? We want. I don't know. I don't know. We got to bring somebody on the show that can explain that to me. You know, we do. And Derek, I know you want to say some more on this, man. We're gonna have to cut the show short. We kind of went a little bit over. We'll definitely come back, and I definitely want to, like I said, challenge somebody that could come on this show and we could talk about this a little more, man. Banks, I'm gonna kick it over to you, man. Let everybody know how they can get out to you, man.
All right, you can find me laying low at Antoine Jarrell Banks at Facebook or Baby Banks 80 on Twitter or the Gram.
That's what's up, man. Derek Cole, man, how can everybody reach out to you, man, and get at you, man? Because obviously, man, people gonna want to get at you. Let them know. That's what's up, man. Look, so always, man, it's a pleasure with you two, man, for coming on the show, man. Always, man, spirited conversations, and we're definitely gonna have to revisit this, man, because I just want to get some clarification. That's all. And Derek, man, like I said, I understand that you don't speak for this entire fan base, and I understand that you feel strongly about how you feel, but you do actually have an admiration and respect for number two. But I just want somebody to come on this show and give me some clarification about all this stuff that's going on. But anyway, hit us up always on Twitter, the Leo G Show, the number one, the Leo G Show, number one on Twitter. Also, you can hit us up on Facebook, the Leo G Show. You can hit me up on my personal Twitter account. That's at Southern Set with two T's, at Southern Set with two T's. You can always hit us up on that, man. So we want some other people to join this show. If you listening to us, I know it's a couple of people that have reached out to me, man. If you want to be a part of the show, man, we'll definitely bring you on. Derek, before we close it out, what's up? Jay, shout out to Jay, man. Shout out to Jay over there on Frown Town, man, and doing his thing. If you want to check out Jay, man, you can always check him out on jjonescomedy.com. He's been had a lot of stuff going on out there in Seattle. But hopefully we'll be able to get him on for another show, man. This has been another edition of the Leo G Show, man, and we're definitely going to bring this conversation back on the next episode, and we'll talk some more stuff, all Atlanta, and we're going to see if Banks can out Atlanta me on the next episode, man. We'll do it. All right, we out.